And what's up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. It is your boy Cheap Ludes, and I'm doing something just a little bit different today. I'm going to be doing a Pokemon tier list, the original 151. Yes, that includes Mew. I know Pokemon purists do not enjoy that, but it is what it is. I'm not a Pokemon channel. Let me rock. Now, we're going to be ranking every single one of these little bad boys right here. We have our tiers: very best, it's Pokemon themed, obviously, solid, underrated, overrated, mid grade, trash, and then the worst of the worst, Karl Malone tier. Now, I have taken every single one of these little pocket creatures, and I have given them rankings based on the following things: their power, or how powerful they are, and that's a 1 through 5, by the way. How loved each Pokemon is. How much does the fandom and people at large love said creature? How iconic / recognizable are they? If I walk up to a random person on the street and I show them a picture of one of these things, are they going to A, know its name, or B, know it's a Pokemon? I don't know. Miscellaneous. This is like in-game powers or in-game moments or things from the TV show, something that makes it stick out. And then this is one I think is original to my tier list. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe other people have done it this way too. Fear factor. How terrified would I be if this thing appeared in front of me in real life? Or anybody for that matter. Let's get started. Pidgey. Not afraid of a Pidgey at all. I could fight a Pidgey. I'm convinced that if a Pidgey rolled up on me and wanted to square up, I could give it the hands. May I win? Maybe not. Might peck my eye out. That would be unfortunate. But I would fight a valiant fight. Not really powerful, not really loved. Iconic, I suppose. The only notable thing I can think of is people used to farm these in Pokemon Go. Pidgey kind of sucks. Trash. Gyarados. It's Gyarados. It's a sea dragon. It's the very best. S tier. A horrifying, scary tier creature, for lack of a better term. Super powerful, loved, very recognizable, full of in-game, in-movie, in-show moments. Gyarados is just sick. Everybody loves Gyarados. If you don't like Gyarados, you kind of suck, dude. I'll be honest. Vulpix. Underrated. I feel like a lot of the cute Pokemon love kind of goes to Eevee here. But Vulpix is pretty tight. It's a Firefox. That's pretty cool. Wigglytuff. Mid. There's just nothing really to say about Wigglytuff. It's not really scary. It's not really powerful. A lot of people probably don't even know it exists. So, and it's cooler than Pidgey. So I will say that. Eevee is the very best. Look, you're lying if you say you didn't want to pet Eevee at some point in your life. Maybe you still do right now, like me. It's iconic. It's not the most powerful Pokemon, I will say that, but it can evolve into some very powerful Pokemon. I'm not going to go past Gen 1 for this list, but just know that. Eevee easily belongs in S tier. Look at it. I used to have arguments with my childhood best friend because he used to say Eevee was a dog. And I would be like, no, you're a stupid idiot. Eevee's actually a cat. We were both kind of wrong, but I was significantly more wrong because it's a fox, I think. I don't know. What is Eevee? Let me know in the comments. I honestly don't know. Sandslash. Mid, but definitely cooler than Wigglytuff. Certainly. A lot of fear factor there. I wouldn't want to cross this thing, in the desert, I guess. It's like an armadillo with 2 Bowie knives attached to it. It's basically what Edward Scissorhands wants to be. Moltres, which they cut off his head for some reason in this picture. He's a fire phoenix. Very recognizable, very powerful. Iconic, yes. Miscellaneous, yeah, plenty of those. Fear factor, through the roof. It's a giant fire phoenix. I would not be stoked to encounter this thing. Also, it would cause a lot of forest fires, which are not tight. Oddish. Cooler than Wigglytuff. So I would put him mid tier. Bulbasaur. Solid. Obviously the most overlooked of the starters, and for that reason, I don't think Bulbasaur can go into the very best tier for that exact reason. Ivysaur I would put underrated. Ivysaur is slightly underrated. Kind of the teenage version of Bulbasaur. Cool in its own way, but I just think that maybe it kind of doesn't get the love it deserves. And then Venusaur, solid. Venusaur is horrifying. I absolutely would not want to run into this thing in the wild. It is a plant dinosaur. Imagine walking through your local like state park or whatever, maybe you've ingested some psilocybin, having a good time, and then all of a sudden a Venusaur pops up. You're going to be horrified. You're going to run away, but it's kind of fast too, and also can make you go to sleep with a variety of different powders, some of which might produce a nice buzz, if I'm being honest. Venusaur is cool though, solid, powerful. It's got some like miscellaneous moments that are tight, pretty iconic. Now, I'll be honest. I want to put Charmander in overrated tier. And the reason I say that is because Charmander is without a doubt the most overrated Pokemon in this game, but he does deserve to be in S tier. I think Charmander gets way too much love. Not even the coolest starter Pokemon. Charmeleon, I will throw it overrated. I don't think anyone specifically overrates Charmeleon, but I can't put Charmander or Charizard in there, so I'll put Charmeleon in there. Yeah, Charizard should get S tier for the amount that his cards go for. I know I'm not specifically going to talk about the trading card game because I haven't played since like 2003, but I can't overlook a massive miscellaneous thing like that. Like a Charizard card going for like $300,000 is crazy. Charizard is easily like the most loved Pokemon in this game outside of obviously like Pikachu, but I feel like adults love Charizard. He doesn't deserve that much love, but it is what it is. I think objectively Gyarados is scarier because he's, a sea dragon. Imagine for a second in your local lake or pond or whatever, and you're on a paddle boat, and then this thing just decides it wants to come up and get some air and some sun, or just fuck shit up. You're not really going to be stoked about that. I feel like that might come from my fear of the deep seas, though. I don't really have a fear of fire-breathing dragons because we don't have any. So maybe I would be more afraid of a Charizard, but they do seem to be more docile creatures. Gyarados seem to be very mad all the time. Squirtle. Squirtle is superior to Charmander in every single way. More adorable. I mean, you maybe make the case that Charizard's cooler than Blastoise. I don't personally feel that way, but maybe you believe that falsity. If Elon Musk truly wanted to make the world a better place, he would bioengineer Squirtles for everybody. I would love to have a Squirtle. Even over an Eevee. An Eevee, I can kind of have one of those already. I can't really have a Squirtle. War Turtle, I feel like, doesn't get the love it kind of deserves. It's a little angsty teenage version of Squirtle. He's really into like Boston hardcore, and he keeps saying he's straight edge, but I saw him smoke a cigarette outside the roller rink. He's tight. Blastoise, S tier. Does he deserve to be higher than anybody on S tier? No, I love Blastoise, but I have to be realistic here. He is, on the other hand, a giant-sized tortoise with water cannons, which I think is pretty tight. I feel like that's overlooked. Weedle. Trash. I mean, he's kind of cool. He's kind of scary. That's about it, though. Kakuna. Karl Malone tier. I mean, could I fight a Kakuna? Yeah. I mean, it would just keep hardening and headbutting me and shooting silk at me. So I'd be annoyed and possibly like bruised and battered, and I wouldn't have gotten very far, but I wouldn't have died. So yeah. Beedrill, super underrated. Just a horrifying creature. They didn't need to add the drills. That's my own opinion. A giant bee is already scary enough. They didn't need to add additional like stingers onto the Beedrill. I feel like Beedrill gets really overlooked because you have to use a Kakuna for a little bit, and I feel like that's just not something people want to do. Pidgeot and Pidgeotto, both mid. They look like two brothers that own one of those barber shops for middle-aged men where you sit on a motorcycle and drink like Glenlivet or something while getting your hair cut. It's basically cost cutters for divorced dads. But that being said, I mean, as Pokemon, they're just kind of like mid. Sandshrew. He's cooler than Wigglytuff. I'll put him there mid for that reason. Ninetales. So tight. Ninetales is so tight. If you don't like Ninetales, I have no hope for your humanity. I almost said humidity. I meant to say humanity. I get nervous recording these. That's why I touch my nose a lot. Anyways, Zubat. Zubat sucks, dude. I hate Zubat so much. Golbat, too. Golbat's got the fuck... I hate Golbat so much. I hate Zubat more, obviously, due to the video games having to run into Zubats every 5 seconds every time you enter a cave. Golbat's got that Nancy Reagan in the 50s type look right now. Let's see. Growlithe. Mid. I think people like Growlithe a lot. I wouldn't say he's underrated or overrated. People like Growlithe. When you're looking at the factors, like mid makes sense. He's not altogether that scary. Miscellaneous, there's not really anything crazy going on. Kind of iconic, but not really. People do kind of like Growlithe. I don't think anyone loves him. And he's like a fire dog. Arcanine. Arcanine is sick. This is what Tony the Tiger wishes he was, even though I know this is not a tiger. It's like a dog or whatever. I feel like because Blaine sucks so bad, people just don't mess with Arcanine for that reason. Arcanine's sick though. I mean, it's a giant fire dog. Objectively, I would say Arcanine, it might even be tighter than Charizard. Poliwhirl. Trash. Yeah, I don't know. Mid. Overrated. Poliwrath is super overrated. I wouldn't be terrified of this. I mean, obviously it would like definitely mess me up in the street fight scenario or hypnotize me with its stomach, which I think is strange, but I think this Pokemon gets a little overhyped. Abra, I would say, is mid. I don't think anybody really loves Abra. The criteria kind of speaks mid. Kadabra, I would say, is underrated. Kadabra is actually pretty tight. And then Alakazam is obviously super sick. Like, I don't know how terrified I would be of Alakazam. You know, this weird looking gangly thing just kind of pops up and starts staring at me with this long mustache and like bending spoons. But the psychic attacks are terrifying. Just the thought of them is horrendous. Farfetch'd, underrated. I love Farfetch'd. He's the best bird Pokemon in this game, yes, including the legendary birds. I mean, he just hits stuff with a stick, and it has a little, like, unibrow. Farfetch'd is awesome. Shout out to my man Fox, dude. Was that his name? Wow, man, what was his name? Was it Fox? The one that you could trade for in the third city in Pokemon Red and Blue? Clutch. Ghastly. No, not overrated. Ghastly's tight. Get out of here. Ghastly is underrated. Without a doubt, I feel like people sleep on him. Haunter, solid. Gengar, S tier. Gengar is sick. A lot of this comes from my love of the ghost Pokemon from that episode of Pokemon where they turn into like frat boys and they just kick it, watch TV, and cause mischief, which I think is really tight. Gengar is awesome. He's somehow both adorable and menacing. Can't think of anyone in real life that's like that. I was going to try to make a parallel there. First person I thought of was James Corden, but he honestly just looks like menacing for the most part. So I wouldn't say that. And I'm not going to compare Gengar to James Corden. That's just rude. Onix. Overrated. I mean, yeah, he's a giant rock snake. That's horrifying to run into. Certainly. The fear factor is there. But Brock sucks. Also very creepy. And I just feel like Onix isn't even the coolest in his own little family. Like Steelix is objectively cooler than Onix. Krabby and Kingler, trash. Poliwhirl's cooler than them, I would say. They're just crabs. Just don't really have anything nice to say there. Yeah, Cubone and Marowak. I honestly forget Marowak even exists 90% of the time, if that's even his name. I truly don't know. Cubone's kind of cool. He's like kind of adorable. He wears like his own like mom's skull on his head. I think that's actually kind of messed up when you think about it too deep. Pokemon in general is messed up when you think about it too deep. I mean, children are trapping creatures in prison balls and then making them fight for sport. That's kind of messed up. I'm going to move past that now. Yeah, mid. Yeah, Seadra is sick, though. Underrated for Seadra. Scyther. Scyther is objectively dope. Like, it's a praying mantis with blade arms. It's pretty cool. Praying mantises have blade arms already, actually, so maybe he's just a giant praying mantis. But Scyther is really cool. The only thing that keeps him out of S tier is, I think, recognizability, and he's not really that powerful. Pincer, straight solid for pure fear. I would put him in underrated. I feel like Pincer is underrated for sure. Just an absolutely horrifying thing. Like, you know, I don't want to get pinched. I don't want to get eaten by whatever these teeth are. Like, he kind of reminds me of the who's the Mortal Kombat character? Is that Cyrex? Opens up his chest and shoots out grenades. It's kind of what that reminds me of. Toro, I'll put in trash for the simple reason that, honestly, I forget this is even a Gen 1 Pokemon. You could tell me this is like Gen 5, and I would probably believe you. I honestly do not remember Toro at all. Lapras. Lapras is a baddie, dude. This is the Rihanna of Pokemon. Look at her. I don't know if it's actually a her. I don't want to gender the Pokemon, but look at it. It knows. It's like, yeah, look at me. I know I'm super tight. I'm the Loch Ness monster. Like, I know you want to ride on my back while I scoot you across open oceans. Like, I know you want to. Just hop on. Like, it also kind of looks devious as well. Like, it's like, yeah, stupid human. Like, get on my back. Think you can ride me while I drown you in the oceans. Ditto. Overrated. I don't have any specific reasoning for that. I mean, it can turn into any Pokemon for that reason. I'm going to overrate it. Vaporeon. Underrated. Vaporeon is definitely the outcast of the Eevee family for sure. I feel like the only people who really ever like Vaporeon are women who are really, really obsessed with crystals and dabs. Those people like Vaporeon for the most part. No one else chooses Vaporeon. I think Vaporeon's cool. Jolteon is overrated. I like Jolteon, but definitely overrated. Flareon is sick. You can obviously tell which one I chose and when. I love Flareon. Flareon is easily one of my favorite Pokemons in the game. Why did I say Pokemons? Oh man, I really am old now. Damn, dude. Anyways, yeah, that's how I would rank the Eevee evolutions. Dragonair, I would say, is slightly overrated. The reason I put Dragonair there is it's just tough to really rank Dragonair. He's definitely not underrated, but I wouldn't say mid either, but definitely not solid. I would throw overrated. Kabuto, for fear factor, I would rather fight a Zubat or a Kakuna over a Kabuto. Kabutops, I want no smoke from Kabutops. Kabutops looks horrifying. I don't want to fight this thing at all. It's like Scyther, but made out of rocks, basically. I don't want that. Aerodactyl, I would throw in the mid. It's got some fear factor, but it kind of looks stupid and doofy, too. It's like the Pokemon equivalent of Forrest Gump. You know what I mean? All right, Primate. Mid. I'll put Muck here, too. Muck is the living embodiment of bull resin, which I do respect, having smoked enough of that in my lifetime, but Muck deserves to go right here. Caterpie, trash. Definitely less scary than Weedle. About the same level of effectiveness and recognizability, though. Diglett. People recognize Diglett, but Diglett kind of sucks. Let's be real here. A lot of rock Pokemon are going to go in here. Psyduck. Overrated. That has a lot to do. No, that has everything to do with the cartoon series. Psyduck. I hate Psyduck so much. I hate this stupid little duck thing. I despise him and his 3 little hairs looking like Charlie Brown. I absolutely hate it. Mankey goes here too. I would put Mankey over by Marowak as just a Pokemon I forget that exists. Slowpoke, towards the top of mid, but that's where I'd put him. Shelder, throw him by Horsey. Coughing, hot take, underrated. Coughing super tight. Look at how happy he is to be producing pollution. Coughing is basically BP. That's basically what it is. Look how happily he's polluting the area around him. Fun fact, I've had 4 bongs in my life with coughing stickers on them. Obviously. Butterfree, right with Beedrill. I think Beedrill has the terror edge, but I don't sleep on how terrifying a Butterfree would be in real life, though. Butterflies look cute and adorable until you see one that's 4 feet tall. You know what I mean? And it's got little feet, and look at its little eyes and its little mouth with I don't know if those are teeth or what those are, and its little hands. It just looks like Beedrill will come up straight up and straight away try to attack you. Butterfree looks like it'll try to win you over with kindness and then paralyze you and then devour you. Not exactly what I want to happen. Jigglypuff, overrated. Certainly. I love Jigglypuff, but when you get in Smash Bros, you definitely become overrated. And when you look at the criteria, Jigglypuff's not really that tight. Venonat, once again, a Pokemon I forgot existed. Venomoth's kind of cool. Put him in mid. It's kind of cool. Golduck does not get the love it deserves. Golduck is super sick. I'd say underrated for this Pokemon. Once again, another Pokemon a lot of people probably forgot existed, which is why he doesn't place higher, but underrated makes sense. Machop. Trash. Machoke. Mid. Machop looks like that overly eager kid that you go to school with that's really into the gym and he wrestles and stuff, but he's 5'1". He wears like all the Nike saying shirts. He always has the freshest Under Armour stuff and like workout gear. He's like kind of nice, but he's like kind of spaz at the same time. Yeah, Machoke's when that kid grows up and he's like in high school and he's really obsessed with wrestling to a weird degree where you think something might be going on there, you know? And he's like all about school spirit and stuff and just wears nothing but school gear and like Letterman jackets and stuff. And then Machamp, overrated, is that guy fully grown up. You know, he's like a part-time bouncer at like one of the shitty hot spots in your hometown. He's a roofing contractor by the day. He's obsessed with his high school achievements. He's like 38 and spends pretty much all of his money on like protein powder and creatine, and he's always at peak fitness. That's how I would describe that. Tentacool, mid. Tentacruel, absolutely horrifying. Like straight up horrifying. Let me set the scene for you. You're in Clearwater Beach, Florida, right? And you're hanging out. You're in the water. You're, you know, slamming your body into waves because you're white and that's what you do for fun. Don't act like you haven't done it. We've all done it, okay? And then this thing just rises from the depths with its big hook nose, and it just starts kind of prowling around, not really sure what it's doing. Is it there to eat stuff? Is it just hanging out, but it looks super evil? You don't know. And for that reason, I'd put him in underrated. Also kind of a powerful Pokemon, definitely a slept on one, but people know about Tentacruel for sure. Golem, I would say, is overrated as well. Kind of looks like a Dookie. And though kind of a terrible character design, not really that powerful. It's like half dragon, half grenade. Ponyta, mid. Rapidash, overrated for sure. I would say that, yeah. One of the least overrated in the overrated list, but I would say right there. Slowbro, mid. I always wanted to know, is this thing an additional Pokemon? Like this sentient like shell back here? Because it's got eyes and like some teeth and stuff like that. Also, Slowbro just doesn't seem to care it's getting bit at all. But is this like a real thing? Like, what is this back here? Has there been any clarification on that ever? I don't know. Magnemite, trash. Magneton, I put in mid because like it would be kind of terrifying if a group of sentient magnets started coming around electrocuting stuff. That'd be pretty terrifying. I would say that. But then you could just throw like a different polarity magnet at it and shut it down. I don't know how magnets work. Doduo, or Carl Malone. Dotrio, trash. Cooler than Machop for sure. Definitely less cool than Magnemite. Seal's mid. Dugong, I think, is underrated. Dugong's pretty cool too. Doesn't get the love necessary, I would say. Cloyster, insert like vagina joke here. Mid. I don't know. I swear, everyone makes a vagina joke when it comes to Cloyster. I mean, for obvious reasons, but it is pretty much Japanese people. Back in like the 90s and stuff, the thinly veiled sexual innuendos were often and plentiful. Cloyster being a very good example of that. Voltorb is trash. I hate Voltorb so much. Carl Malone tier. Electrode is at least a little bit cooler because it's got the little eyebrows and stuff. But these are the worst Pokemon designs. Like, you just made Pokeballs that shoot electricity. Like, come on. Did you run out of ideas at the end? Hitmonlee, overrated. Hitmonchan, also overrated. Yeah, I'm not going to elaborate on those. I feel like we all kind of agree with that sentiment. Rhydon, mid. Rhyhorn, underrated. I feel like the Giovanni Pokemon just like realistically get underrated all the time. Probably because he's the antagonist and everyone hated him. But Rhyhorn's pretty cool. Chansey, I love Chansey, dude. I'm big on Chansey. Chansey, super underrated Pokemon. Here's the thing about Chansey. Relatively powerful. People like Chansey a lot. Pretty recognizable as well. Miscellaneous, you know, some episodes of the show where Chansey plays a big role. A notoriously hard to get Pokemon in the games too. Fear factor. Let's talk about fear factor, because on the surface you might think, oh, it's like a 1. It looks adorable and cuddly, but have you ever worked at a job where there was the HR person and they were like kind of a portly or chubby, lovable person that was super nice on the surface, but realistically down low, they would let you die in a boiling vat of water to save the company $6? That's Chansey. And I feel like there is an air of ruthlessness underneath this cute exterior. Also, it has a little egg. That's cute. What's it filled with? We don't know. Couldn't even be real. Might not even be real. Staryu. Because everybody wanted to touch Misty inappropriately, I think the Staryu and Starmie got a little overrated. So for that reason, we're going to go in the overrated category. Electabuzz, people get mad about this, but he's overrated. These little things, kind of forgot their names, don't really care. Trash. Cooler than Voltorb. Whoa, Pidgey. Yeah, that's right. Articuno. Just like Vaporeon, I would say underrated. I just don't know what it is, but the water and ice type original Pokemon, just no one cares about them at all. We just want fire and electricity. It's uncultured. Zapdos. Yeah, solid. Zapdos is the coolest of the legendary birds, but I feel like I had to knock off a couple points for like recognizability. Because I feel like if you showed a regular person a Zapdos, they might not know it's a Zapdos. You know what I mean? They're going to know these things. They might not know Zapdos. Zapdos is pretty cool, though. Dragonair. Wait, Dragonite. Why did I say Dragonite? Yeah, Dragonite. Underrated, actually. People like this Pokemon, people don't. Once again, just like Chansey, there's an air of like suspicion that I have about the niceness of this Pokemon. It looks too nice and I don't trust it. Dugtrio. Cooler than Diglett, but only by like a little bit for obvious reasons. Magmar, overrated, I would say. Metapod, still cooler than Zubat. Like, definitely still cooler than Zubat. This one is going to ruffle feathers. Mewtwo is overrated. The most overrated Pokemon, if I do say so myself. I'm not going to get into reasons on that. I mean, it's got the recognizability. It's got the miscellaneous moments. The fear factor is just not there for me. But then again, like I haven't really experienced one. It's powerful, obviously, how loved each Pokemon is. I mean, I don't think anyone really loves Mewtwo, though. For that reason, I'm going to knock him down. Arbok. Arbok is super underrated. Ekans is like mid, though. Arbok is horrifying. Like, imagine running into this thing. Now, I think what really damaged its fear reputation was the TV show, because Arbok was like a bumbling idiot for some reason. Even though he's like a giant cobra that could like murder anyone that it felt like. It just was like, Arbok. And then would just like get booted into the sky, usually with Team Rocket. Really disrespecting my boy. Yeah. Graveler and Geodude, mid. I mean, Geodude's cooler than Diglett because it's like a sentient rock with arms. Diglett does cause earthquakes, so that's pretty cool. Rattata, trash. Raticate, mid. For fear factor alone, imagine having this thing crawl through your house trying to eat your like Quaker Oats. Not cool. Pharaoh, yeah. Pharaoh and Sparrow. I think this one's Pharaoh, this one's Sparrow. Mid and trash. Raichu, the most disrespected Pokemon in Pokemon. All because Ash was a whiny little baby and didn't want to make his Pikachu cool. Yeah, I'm aware Pikachu didn't want to evolve, but Pikachu was just scared and just needed some nudging. He would be so much happier as a Raichu. He could dominate everybody. He would look cooler. People would stop trying to pet him all the time. His life would be infinitely better if he was a Raichu. Raichu is awesome. Pikachu, meh. Raichu, yeah. All right, we got so Nidoking and Nidoqueen, the little Nidoran, whatever. Trash. Their second Evos, I would say, are like mid somewhere. And then Nidoking is, I believe, overrated, whereas Nidoqueen, I think, is underrated. They're basically the same. That's kind of how I feel. Like, stats-wise, they're basically the same. Clefairy and Clefable, trash. My man is off the benzos right here. My man Gloom is holding it down, dude. Mid. He's off the mid. Straight up. Vileplume looks evil. Like, look at these beady little red eyes. Look at this little mouth. Terrifying Pokemon. I don't want anything to do with this thing. It's going to, like, paralyze you with some sort of powder, and then I don't know what it's going to do. Plant its seeds for more Glooms to pop out of you. The prospects of the Vileplume are horrifying. Relatively powerful. People know what it is. Underrated makes sense, I think. Paris, trash. Parasect, probably like mid somewhere. Persian, absolutely underrated. Once again, another Giovanni Pokemon. Everyone loved Meowth, but nobody liked Persian because you guys are cowards. Persian was tight. I really wanted one as a pet. It does kind of look like an asshole, though, if I'm being honest. Yeah, you go trash. The sex toy goes mid next to Cloyster. That makes sense. Vileplume, I would say, is a little bit underrated. Nah, Vileplume's probably, underrated. Vileplume's kind of cool. It's like a sentient, like man-eating plant. Just not something I want to run into. Grimer, where's Muck at? I mean, obviously they're like the same. Yeah. Drowsy, people like Drowsy. And then Hypno I think is a little bit overrated personally. Like, I don't know, that's just how I feel about it. I love Executor. Mid. Yeah, you too. I love the middle one. I like how they all have different personalities, but this one especially, the one in the middle, because he's like super confident. He reminds me of Eddie from Ed, Edd and Eddy. You know what I mean? It's got that smug look. Looks like he wants Jawbreakers. Lickitung, I'll throw you next to the other sexual innuendo Pokemon over here. Wheezing. Overrated. You remember how I said that I've had multiple bongs with coughing on them? I've seen multiple bongs with wheezing on them. Wheezing doesn't have the same joy in life that coughing does. Like, Wheezing just looks tired of it. He just wants to have it ended. He's just like, kill me. So I'm not really too afraid of Wheezing because he looks like he's not going to put up too much of a fight. Like, if I square off with this thing, it's probably just going to lay down and let me win because it wants to die. Tangela, mid, because of how terrifying this thing would be. Like, there's an old G.I. Joe movie that I used to watch that had these vines that like grabbed up all the Joes and like, put them in stuff or whatever. And that used to terrify me as a child, being attacked by sentient vines. And that's basically what Tangela is. So yeah, no thank you. Kangaskhan, mid. Yeah, I'm not going to say he's overrated, but mid. Goldeen and Sea King. Yeah, I would say trash. I'm just not a big fan. Just like little guppies. Like, who cares? Mew. Once again, overrated. This one's overrated for different reasons than Mewtwo. It is powerful, yes. It had its moments, yes. It is loved. It is iconic, but God, it is the least scary thing. Like, I'm more afraid of Jigglypuff than I am this thing. Like, truly. This is adorable. Mew is an adorable creature. I am more afraid of an Eevee because I have a natural fear of dogs sometimes. Mr. Mime is Karl Malone tier. Absolutely. I don't care what you have to say. Jinx, whatever, mid. I don't care. Magikarp, underrated tier. Nah, solid tier. Magikarp's sick. If you don't think Magikarp is sick, you're a hater. Porygon, I would put him in like mid, personally. Dratini, same thing, like mid tier. They just kind of exist. All right, now we got the heavy hitters out here to round this out. Pikachu is the number one Pokemon of all time. I don't really need to go into too much detail. He's the mascot, literally. Though I will say, Raichu is cooler than Pikachu, and if you disagree, you're stupid. Snorlax. Snorlax is awesome. I would also throw him in S tier for sure. I love Snorlax. I love everything about what he brings to the table. And then we got Meowth. Regular Meowth is probably just like mid, but because of the TV show, Karl Malone tier. Why didn't Team Rocket just let Meowth make coins rain from the sky and then sell them so they didn't have to go constantly try to attack and assault a 10-year-old and his like 12-year-old friends? By the way, apparently, how old was Brock supposed to be? Because like I know Misty was supposed to be like 12, and you know in anime 12 is a real life 24. You know what I mean? So how old was Brock? Because if he was 24, that means real life he was like 38. And that's super creepy. So I just want to mention that. As always, it's been your boy Cheap Ludes. Let me know what you think down in the comments section below. Like I said, I'm going to upload this stuff more on the second channel. If you can get me over to 1,000 subscribers on Cheaper Ludes, which will be linked in the description of this video, that would be cool. So I could post that stuff over there instead of here. That would be helpful for everyone. And I'll be back with more content later. Peace.